Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, you see, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we save time to take live questions, but we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure those questions get answered properly in a video, so we gather up those unused questions and we address them here on companion videos. Now, today we've got a couple of leftover questions from Friday's episode and from today's episode. Today is Monday, June the 17th, so we're going to get caught up on all those. So let's not waste any time and get right to it. And we're going to start getting caught up with the question from Jonathan Teft, who wrote in, something that annoys me so much is when somebody says that a movie like Spider-Man 3 is bad because it has too many villains. It's not about how many there are, it's about how they're used. A Spider-Verse had 5 villains, Kingpin, Doc Ock, Prowler, Scorpion, and Tombstone, and it was great. It is great. It was actually one of the best movies of the year that year. And you know what? You're preaching to the choir, Jonathan, because I've been saying for a long time, you know, there are rumors going around that Batman, the new Batman movie by Matt Reeves, is going to have 6 villains. And there are people like, number one, we don't even know if that's true. But even if it is true, people are like, they're panicking. 6 villains is too many villains. It's going over. Oh, no, time out. Let's go over a number of comic book movies that have multiple villains. See, multiple villains can be a bad thing if they're used the wrong way. If you use them the right way, and you only have 1 or 2 villains truly have big parts in the film and the other villains play smaller roles, then that's the only difference is that between that and any other movie with a ton of characters, even a ton that are antagonists, is that you know the names of some of these villains. That's it. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with the number of villains in it. It has to do with how they're used. How prominent are they? Are they used effectively? Are they used poorly? Are they whatever? And that's what leads to it. It's never the amount of villains that makes a movie good or bad. You know, we've seen comic book movies with 1 villain and it's horrible. Was it horrible because it had just 1 villain? No. So I don't worry about that stuff at all, Jonathan. I don't care how many villains are in a movie or not. Now, look, if I saw the list of 20 villains in a movie, would I be a little apprehensive? Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, it's still about how are they used. So completely agree with you there, Jonathan. Completely agree. All right. Nosferatu writes, okay, Uncle Rick, Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know what that means. Is okay, Uncle Rick a line from Edge of Tomorrow? I can't remember. Anyway, Django19 writes, Joe Dirt is a guilty pleasure of mine. I mentioned on the show the other day that I really don't like Joe Dirt, although I wish I did because I love David Spade. Anyway, Joe Dirt is a guilty pleasure of mine. Grew up watching it, so it'll always have a special place in my heart. Second is awful, though. Turned it off after 10 minutes. I'll tell you what, then you got 10 minutes further than me because I don't think I ever even began to watch Joe Dirt 2, to be honest with you. So you're already the head of the game on me on that, Django. All right, Suthius writes, T-bone, New York strip or ribeye? Ribeye for me. I'm actually a filet mignon guy, really, but out of those 3, I mean, look, I'll take any of them. I'd probably go for a New York strip, though. Ryan Lohner writes, have you seen the video of oh, yes, I did. Seen the video of the little girl with the First Order at Galaxy's Edge? I'm not telling you anything. And she's standing there with her hands. That little girl is the most adorable. If you haven't seen this video, guys, look up what Ryan is talking about. Look up Galaxy's Edge First Order little girl. Just look that up. You should be able to find it somewhere. It is one of the most adorable things you're going to see all day. All right, Suthius writes, the control room supervisor in Chernobyl equals T-Bag. Yeah, he really was. See, he wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a villain. It's just he was a douchebag. And sometimes being a douchebag, even if you're not a bad guy, can lead to some pretty horrible things. So many good things about that show, man. Django19 writes, favorite kind of tacos? I don't eat tacos very often, if ever. Don't say ground beef or Taco Bell. Well, then I can't answer. Those aren't real tacos. Haha. Mine are carne asada and al pastor. Love Mexican food. I'm actually not big on Mexican food. I'll be honest with you. I'm not big on Mexican food, nor am I mean, I'm married into a Filipino family. I'm not really big into Filipino food, though I do love a good chicken adobo. I'll give you that. Honestly, I never eat tacos. I mean, there was a restaurant nearby that had Taco Tuesdays, and we used to go to that sometime, and theirs were pretty good. I'll tell you what I hate. I do not like corn tortillas. I don't like corn tortillas at all. I much prefer flour tortillas. And that is, I guess, very non-Mexican, but whatever. That's kind of how I feel about that. Let's see. Ying D writes, Endgame, 1 emotional climax equals 3 plot inconsistencies. Look, it is what it is. I like Endgame. You guys know I like Endgame very much. I loved it. I saw it 4 times in theaters. That said, it has many logical inconsistencies. The movie has many, many logical inconsistencies. But whatever, I don't care, because the emotional impact of a lot of those things were more than worth it to me. That, yeah, I know that doesn't make sense, and I know that doesn't make sense, and I know that doesn't make sense. But it was still worth it to me because it was still a great experience. But you're right, a lot of plot inconsistencies with it. Don't know what to put writes, in memory of the cursed Twilight Zone production. Yeah, Twilight Zone... I mean, somebody died. I believe multiple people died, I believe, making that Twilight Zone movie from the 80s, I think it was. If you've never read up on that, you should. It's kind of a heartbreaking story. Smoking Guns writes, Captain America or Ron Burgundy assemble. That's right, because in one of the anchormen, Ron Burgundy goes, news team, assemble, long before Captain America ever said it in Avengers Endgame. I'll take the Ron Burgundy one. I mean, really, the better one is Captain America. I just like the way Ron Burgundy said it way more than the way Captain America said it. Avengers, assemble. I just don't like the way he said it. I love that he said it. I got all pumped up and wanted to jump out of my chair when he said it. I just don't. Avengers, assemble. Like, how did anybody hear him? Anyway, Suthius writes, 3 episodes so far of The Chef Show with Jon Favreau, and I dig it. Very cool of him to do a show with Chef Roy Choi, who trained Favreau for the Chef movie. Yeah, first of all, the movie Chef by Jon Favreau. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It's a smaller, in-spirit indie film, even though it's got Jon Favreau and Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. and whatever. I think they just did it for him as a favor. It has got so much heart. It's so clever. And it's funny. And Favreau's great in it. And if you're a little bit of a foodie, like many of us are, you'll really appreciate it. If you haven't seen Chef, check it out. It's really good. But I've been really curious about this new show of his, Chef. I've never seen a single episode of it yet. I know Ann wants to watch it too. So I'm probably going to have to sit down here soon and check this thing out because I just love the movie so much. So we'll see what the show is like. Django19 writes, could watch one tomorrow. Men in Black 3. You probably mean Men in Black International. Or Shaft. Shaft. Look, I don't think either of these films are great. And I don't think either of them are terrible. But if the line between being a good movie and not a good movie were here, I'd say Men in Black International just a little bit on the not a good movie side, and Shaft a little bit on the good movie side. So neither great, neither terrible, but I do give the edge to Shaft in that I thought it was a little bit better of a film. All right, Nicholas Piera writes, 1 of 2. I'll be okay if Marvel uses Wolverine as an important character of their universe. They will. But their X-Men films need to shine other characters. As for Spidey with Sony, Marvel won't do what Fox has done before, and Feige has already proven he likes to popularize little-known characters. Well, that's a double-edged sword, Nicholas, because Kevin Feige has also proved he likes to shine big lights on very popular characters. Hence Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, the list goes on. So you can say Kevin Feige's proven he likes to shine light on little-known characters, maybe, but he's also proven that he really likes his very popular characters all at the same time, right? So, I fully expect Wolverine, because he is such a popular character, will be a cornerstone, I mean, not the cornerstone, but a cornerstone of the Marvel X-Men films whenever they get around to doing those. And those are still several years away. But whenever he does get around to them, I expect Wolverine will be one of the cornerstones of it. I also expect to see Professor X, Jean Grey, Cyclops, probably Iceman, a lot of the popular ones. And do I believe he'll pepper in a couple of more unknown ones? Sure, I think he'll do that too. But I don't think it'll be at the expense of the popular ones. Like even in the MCU, he went with the most popular guys he had. You know, he didn't have Spider-Man at the time. He didn't have X-Men. But so what did they do? They led with their most popular characters. They led with, you know, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Hulk. That's what they led with. I expect probably Kevin Feige will take the same approach to the X-Men. They'll lead with their popular ones and start to introduce, maybe even right off the bat, they'll introduce a couple of lesser known ones. But I do believe they will go that route. And I believe Kevin Feige's track record shows that. And I think it makes a lot of sense, but we'll see what he ultimately decides to do with it. I'm excited one way or the other. I do just wish they kept them in a separate universe. That's just me. Django19 writes, meant MIB International. Oh, no problem, Django. I knew exactly what you're talking about. No worries, dude. Nate Smith writes, I was on Box Office Mojo and noticed on the dailies a number right next to the day number. It's in green. What does that mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me go over to Box Office Mojo here for a second. Box Office Mojo. A number. Okay, so on the dailies. Okay, so let's go to a daily chart here. A number next to the day number. I'm not seeing anything. Like, let me bring this up if I can here. Okay, so I'm on a daily chart right now, and we're seeing numbers. You're saying a number next to the day number. Well, here's like Friday 6/14. There's a green number beside it. I do not see what it is we're talking about here. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer because I'm not really quite sure what the question is per se. Sorry about that, dude. All right, next one up. Maybe if you can email me. You know what? Do me a favor, Nate. Email me at john@thejohncampeashow.com and just put box office numbers green or something in the subject line and send me a screenshot of what you're talking about. So then maybe I'll know what it is we're talking about. Anyway, Danzig 1979 writes, hey, John, do you think an X-Men TV series on Disney Plus on the scale of Game of Thrones would be a better fit than a film series? No, absolutely not. It could lead up to a film also. Well, here's the problem. If you start them as a TV series, why would people go see the movie? Because they can just watch it on TV. No, I don't believe X-Men are better served. Now, don't get me wrong. There are X-Men Universe TV shows, much like Legion, much like, although that's X-Men Auxiliary, but much like, say, The Gifted, which I really did like. But I liked it for what it was. You know, to me, X-Men are a cinematic thing. I don't think a TV show would work as well. Let's put it this way. A well-executed TV show would work better than a not executed well movie. But a well-executed movie universe of X-Men will work better than a well-executed TV series. That's just my opinion on it. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, Suthius writes, I remember going into Circuit City. Oh my God, Circuit City. I remember going into Circuit City. I remember those. Having those huge projection TVs when we got our first flat screen TV. A 32-inch would cost $1,300. Now, $100 for one. I know. The prices of TVs have come down so much. I just put up a video of my new Dungeons and Dragons and overall gaming table, right? And what I did, for those of you who didn't see it, it's on my YouTube channel. It's on the front page of my YouTube channel. Just go look, you'll find it, my new D&D gaming table. Anyway, what we did was a friend of mine designed it and had it built with his carpenters. I just basically had to pay for materials. And what I did was I recycled an old 65-inch TV that I've had for like 6 years because me and Ann just recently bought a new 75-inch. Anyway, when I told people that, people go, oh, it must be nice to be rich and buying a 75-inch TV. You do know I bought that 75-inch TV, 4K, 75-inch TV for like $475. I mean, it's not like, I mean, yeah, maybe just a year ago, that same TV might have cost $1,000. I'm not sure. Now, granted, the one I got was on sale, granted, but you know, these things, they're a lot cheaper now than they used to be. It is crazy. And you're right. 32-inch TV. I remember back in the day when a 32-inch TV, number one, was considered huge, and when it would be $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. Now, 75-inch, under $500. If you find the right one and if you find it on sale. But I mean, yeah, it is crazy how much cheaper these things have gotten. All right. Michael Zanjani writes, thoughts on Ruiz Jr. movie. Keep up the good work. If you're talking about the dude who just won the heavyweight championship, boxing is such a stupid sport. It's such a stupid sport. I think there are like, how many, what are we up to? 77? I think there are 77 heavyweight champions of the world in boxing. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's an idiotic system. Anyway, unlike the UFC where there is one true heavyweight champion, there is one lightweight champion. Boxing, it's like I remember, and then they even something without a belt like lineal champion. Like I just watched the Tyson Fury fight. That guy's a beast, but it's like, oh, he is the lineal champion. Okay. And then this other guy he just fought last year, he's another champion. And then there's this other guy who's a champion, and there's Ruiz who is heavyweight. Who's heavyweight champion? Anyway, dumb system. They got to fix it. Anyway, I don't know. I don't care. I don't know anything about the guy's life. I mean, I watched I watched the highlights of the fight, and it was crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but I have no idea if you can make a movie out of that guy's life. I simply do not know if he had anything interesting enough happen in his life to make a really good movie. So I have no opinion of it one way or the other. Neither pro, no con. Neither pro nor con. All right, let's see. What are we at here? Don't know what to put writes. Does your better half know about BIOS, Tom Hanks movie? Yep, she passed. She didn't see it. I think she just didn't have the heart to watch it because she heard it was bad. And wait a second. Am I thinking of the right one? Are we thinking of the one with the girl from Harry Potter? Emma Watts? Hold on a second. Let me see if it's the one I'm thinking about. Oh, no, I'm thinking of a totally different one. Oh, so that's the upcoming movie he's got. Right. I'm thinking of, you know the movie I'm thinking of, right? I was thinking of the movie, come on. Why is this thing loading up so slow? I'm thinking of the movie, and I can't remember, but John Boyega was in it, and Emma Watts was in it, and what the hell was it called? This is going to bother me now unless I find it. The Circle. That's what it was. The Circle, about the tech company, right? Anyway, neither of us... Oh, wait, no, did I see it? Oh, crap, now I can't remember. But I remember Ann didn't see it. Ann didn't go see it. Because she just heard it was bad, and she couldn't bring herself to do it. She just couldn't bring herself to do it. Ben Rayner writes, Joss Whedon also directed Office episodes with Business School and Pam's Paint Show. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. Pam's Paint School is one of the best episodes. One of the absolute best episodes. Let me just, hold on a second. Let me pull this up because I want to look up and make sure that's absolutely true. Where is Joss Whedon? There he is. Okay. The Pam Paint Show, to me, is, why can I not find, oh, I know why. There we go. The Pam's Paint Show episode, if that's the one I'm thinking of, where she's putting on her show and nobody from the office comes to check out her art or anything like that, and she's all sad, and then right near the end, Michael shows up. If that's the one we're talking about, then that is one of the most... Now, it says he directed... Okay, no, I don't think it's the Pam's Paint Show. The one I see here that he did was Branch Wars. He did that one, and he did the Business School one, which was also very funny. So that's what's credited to him. It's too bad, too, because the Pam Paint Show one, when Michael shows up at the end and he praises her paint and she's so overwhelmed, she gives him a big hug and stuff like that. That's one of the most special moments there was ever on that show. But apparently that's not the one he directed. So he directed Business School, but then Branch Wars, at least according to IMDb. So anyway, there's that. But I didn't even realize he directed some Office episodes. Christopher Rampersad writes, where are we at here? In Men in Black, Rebecca Ferguson was the best part. What's your thought? No. She had a very small part playing Riza, who was Chris Hemsworth's ex-alien girlfriend. And let me continue on here. Thank you for everything. I was 12 when watched you on AMC. Now I'm 24. You are a role model. Well, I don't think I was on AMC 12 years ago. I wasn't on AMC 12 years ago. I wasn't on AMC 12 years ago. That's a little bit before AMC. So maybe you saw me on the movie blog or something like that, but I wasn't yet on AMC 12 years ago. Anyway, Rebecca Ferguson has a very, very small part in Men in Black International, where she plays an alien, and she's in one or two of the trailers. She plays an alien who is Chris Hemsworth's ex-girlfriend named Riza, and no relation to the rapper. Anyway, I thought she was good, but it was a very small part, and Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson were standouts to me in the movie, and the movie overall isn't very good, but I thought they were the better parts of the movie, in my personal opinion. Okay, Michael Bradley writes, "Hello, John. Watched Terminator Genesis and forgot how much the trailer spoiled that John Connor was a Terminator. It would have been nuts not knowing when Arnold's Terminator shot John's." I don't get that one. I remember at the time when that was coming out, I remember at the time defending the notion of putting that stuff in the trailer, because I said, you know what, guys, a lot of times, and it's true, 90% of the time we look at something in trailer and goes, that's a big spoiler. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We don't know what the context of it is. Maybe it's not a big spoiler. And 90% of the time, it usually isn't a big spoiler. But that one, like revealing that he was himself a Terminator, revealing that in the trailer, I mean, look, that didn't do anything towards the quality of the movie because that was just marketing, but it was a total botch for them as from the marketing point of view. Totally a botch. I still to this day, Michael, can't believe they did that, because that's a big one. And I defended it because I'm like, hey, you know, we haven't seen the movie. Let's give it a shot. It probably isn't that important of a plot point, or maybe we're seeing it out of context or blah, 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 blah. But they said, nope, it's just in the movie. That's a big reveal. That's supposed to be a big surprise in the movie, and yet they had already spoiled it completely in the trailer. So yeah, man, that was a pretty brutal one. That was absolutely a pretty brutal one. Ryan Lohner writes, Craig Mazen has a weird career, the writer. Scary Movie 2 and 3, Hangover 2 and 3, Huntsman 2, Chernobyl. One of these things is not like the other. Dude, that is why whenever I see a movie being directed by somebody who's done nothing but bad stuff, or being written by a writer who's never written anything but bad stuff, I go, this makes me nervous. But we don't write it off just immediately. We just don't write it off. We go, okay, I'll be honest, I'm nervous about it, because this guy has written a lot of crap. Let's just call it what it is. He's written a lot of crap. And then he's one of the writers of Chernobyl? It kind of looks like maybe he should stay away from comedy and maybe just do more hard-hitting stuff, because clearly he's got a big talent when it comes to harder-hitting stuff, and clearly he doesn't have that big of a talent when it comes to writing comedy. But yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me, it's a little bit of an opposite thing with Peyton Reed, who got started in television, or the Russo brothers, right? And who knew they could do a big comic book action-packed movie sort of stuff? Who knew? But that's why I always say, this makes me nervous. I'm apprehensive that this person's on or that person's on, but we never write it off immediately, because who knows what they got up their sleeve. And this guy had Chernobyl up his sleeve. All right. Matthew D Friut writes, guys, we all know Vinny Chase is the real Aquaman. So those of you who don't recognize the name, there was a very popular HBO show called Entourage. I'm sure many of you at least remember what it was, even if you didn't watch it. And in it, the main character, Vinny Chase, he's an actor. He's a Hollywood actor. One of the storylines of the show over its seasons was getting an Aquaman movie done, and he was Aquaman. So there you go. He is the real Aquaman. JB Bonifacio writes, Luke killed millions on Death Star 1. Just saying, we got into a bit of a debate that, you know, Vader can never truly be redeemed. He committed mass genocide. He probably murdered, if not the hundreds of thousands, then maybe millions. And one act to save his own son doesn't necessarily fully redeem him. So we were having that discussion. But as a nice follow-up to that discussion, hey, let's not forget, Luke murdered over 1 million people. According to all the Star Wars technical manuals and everything, there were over 1 million people on that Death Star. Over 1 million people on that Death Star. Some of which were just, you know, mechanics and engineers, or chefs, or janitorial staff, just average people, man, just doing their job. And Luke Skywalker murdered them. Murdered them in cold, deep space, cold kind of blood. Just murdered millions, snuffed out 1 million lives just like that. I don't know, Luke. I don't know. I mean, obviously, hey, it was either that or the Death Star goes on to kill billions, but still, yeah, Luke killed millions. It's true. Speed King 565 writes, did you hear about Spider-Man 4 on Twitter? We talked about this on the John Campea Show earlier today. That's much ado about nothing, because that had nothing to do with the movies. So for what, if you don't know what he's talking about here, let me see if I can pull this up here just quickly. Spider-Man 4 image. Okay, let me see if I can pull this up here. All right, so what happened was there was this social media thing went out that Marvel had put out, and I'll see if I can find it here. All right, here it is. I'll bring it up. So this image comes up. It's been going around, right? Oh, it's the spider with the 4. Oh my gosh. Okay, but look in the bottom corner of the image. Hashtag Marvel Comics. Hashtag Marvel Comics. This isn't a movie thing. This doesn't have anything to do with the movies. This is something to do with the comic book universe, not with the movie universe. So it's much ado about nothing. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here, folks. Okay, Suthius writes, hey guys, Umbrella Academy Season 2 begins production. Yes, it started shooting. I liked Umbrella Academy. I didn't think, you know, it's not one of the best things I've seen all year, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually pretty damn good. And I'm looking forward to season 2. So I'll be honest with you, I would have thought it would have already been in production. To be honest, I would have thought it would have already been in production, but it's good to hear that it's happening, and it's good that it's actually in production. Suthius follows up and writes, so Zendaya colored her hair red. Everyone online is like, is she going to be Ariel? Is this an homage to MJ? Jesus, it's just hair coloring. I know, but you know what it is? It is what it is, Suthius. We as film fans like to search for meaning in everything. Like, they could say, I don't know, Steve Carell spotted wearing a black suit. Is he going to be Zorro in a movie? Like, we look for connections to everything. I have a feeling if Zendaya was going to play Ariel, they would just put a red wig on her. That's my guess. And we know she doesn't have red hair in Spider-Man Far From Home, so that has nothing to do with it. But look, Suthius, it is what it is. That is our nature of film fans. We look for little, deep, hidden meanings in everything. And it's just what we do. It's kind of stupid that we do it, but we do it. We all do it, and it is kind of stupid that we do. All right, don't know what to put writes. Someone please make Sonic movie a Mandela Mandela Effect. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Mandela Effect is, and I'm not super clear on it, but basically the Mandela Effect is a notion where a bunch of people wrongly remember something, right? A bunch of people wrongly remember something. The term came from when a bunch of people believe they remembered hearing about Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s, but obviously he never did die in the 80s, or he never did die at that point. He was still alive at the time, at any rate. So the Mandela Effect is like a massively believed or held belief of something that isn't true. A false memory or fake memory of something. So I'm saying, please make the Sonic movie a Mandela Effect. That's clever. All right. TV Oops writes, wouldn't you like to be downtown Toronto right now? Oh, absolutely. Millions of people in the streets. What a parade. Yeah, I would have loved to have been there, dude. I was down there, not for the Blue Jays victory parade, but I was down there the night the Toronto Blue Jays won their first World Series. And it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life. I would have loved to have been down there as part of that parade. That would have been great. We the North, brother. We the North. All right. Junya Bunya writes, do you think they'll properly cast a short actor as Wolverine? Taron Egerton would be perfect if you ask me. First of all, there is no actor who would be perfect for a role. I really don't care. Just get a talented actor. That's bottom line. That I don't care. If they announced Taron Egerton, would I be happy? Sure. But there's about 50 other names you could mention that I'd be happy as well. But here's the thing. Who says properly? I mean, who says a short actor would be the proper thing to do, right? The movie version of Wolverine is not the comic book version of Wolverine. And by the way, if you want to use the word properly, then Taron Egerton is way too tall to properly cast Wolverine. Taron Egerton isn't some tiny guy. He's like 5'9". So, I mean, that's like a full 8 inches taller than what a comic book Wolverine should be. So you can't say, I'm going to challenge you on this, brother. You cannot say you want a properly height cast Wolverine and then go out and get a 5'9" actor to play him. It's one or the other. You can't have it both ways. Because if you cast Taron Egerton, who is a great little actor, he's not little, he was a fine actor. I like Taron Egerton very much. But that is not a properly height cast Wolverine in the least. So I really don't care. I don't care. I don't think it's vitally important one way or the other that Wolverine is tall or short or whatever. In the comics, he is a certain way. But let's be honest. When we think about the real traits of Wolverine, the height isn't really one of them. It's a recognizable trait of his, but we think more about, we think more about the adamantium. We think about the claws. We think about his feral nature. We think about the Wolverine rage. We think about, the romance with the love triangle stuff with Jean Grey and Scott Summers. We think of the height's a thing, but it's not a core. I've never believed it's a core essential element to who he is. If they want to do that, I'm perfectly good with it. But if they don't, they don't. I'm just going to push you a little bit on this, that you can't say you want a properly cast short actor and then cast a guy who's way taller than what the Wolverine in the comic books would be, right? So it's kind of one or the other. Anyway, but again, to say, I don't care who they cast as Wolverine. I don't care. All I want is a talented actor. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. You cast a talented actor, then whoever it is, I'll just believe that the script calls for that kind of actor to properly play the character. As long as you go with the talented actor, I'm good. I mean, if you want, Sir Anthony Hopkins to play it, well, then you must be going for a really old man Logan. And if that's what you're doing, fine. Like, I'm just, as long as it's a talented actor, that's my main concern. That's all I really care about. And I don't care if they're 6'5". I don't care if they're 5'3". I really don't care. Just give me a good actor, give me a good story, make a good movie, and we're good to go. All right. Suthius writes, Ghost was already saved by Janet with her new quantum healing. At the end, she ran away with Foster. Whether snap or not, most likely she's still alive. But look, it's been a while since I've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I believe that what Janet did to her was only temporary, and they needed more material from the quantum realm to continually heal her. So I believe, and again, it's been a little while, it's been a skip since I've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I believe they did need more material from the quantum realm for Ghost. I believe that what Janet did was not the fix-all. I don't believe that was the fix-all. But maybe that's the Mandela Effect. Maybe I'm not remembering it right, but that's what I believe I remember. Okay. Suthius writes, my response for ignorance that I see in online comment threads or directed towards me is always, you must be an aspiring comedian, works every time. Drew, just be careful not to be dismissive of people just truly expressing their own opinion. Because what you consider ignorance, other people might actually consider to be quite valid. So I just say just be cautious of that. Just don't be that guy. I'm just saying, just be careful of that, Suthius. All right. Stefan Beam writes, do you think Kit Harington could be Wolverine? I think any actor could be Wolverine. Connor Dixon writes, thank you for showing me the subjectivity in everything. Well, in movies, but not everything is subjective. Not everything is subjective. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. 5 plus 5 equals 10. The height of a meter is 100 centimeters. Like, there are quantifiably measurable facts, and then there's artistic opinion, which is subjective. There are two different things. But yeah, when it comes to movies are subjective. Suthius writes, Arrow Season 1 villain Merlin shoots arrows. Season 3, Ra's al Ghul shoots arrows. Season 5, Prometheus shoots arrows. Season 7, villain Emiko Queen shoots arrows. Oh man, yeah, I don't like that when they keep going back. Like, I don't mind in a season of Arrow having an arch nemesis also be an archer. Hell, over 7 seasons, I don't even mind doing it twice. But to do it over and over and over and over and over again gets to be, boring. Flash, having Reverse Flash is great. You also want to throw in Zoom? Okay, throw in Zoom. Now you want to throw in Savitar? Okay, put in Savitar. I mean, speedster after speedster after speedster. And oh, look, Kid Flash is here too. Oh, look, now she's a speedster. Oh, look, now his daughter's here and she's a speedster. And everybody's a speedster. It feels like now, and I love the Flash show. I do. I love the Flash show. But it feels like it's an Oprah Winfrey thing. Everybody reach under your seat. You get to be a speedster because everyone's a speedster. And yeah, it does get me a little bit. Like, I don't mind when like a movie like Ant-Man, his rival in that is another guy with shrinking technology. Okay, that's fine. It's the antithesis of what he is. It's the yin to his yang sort of thing. That's fine. But when you do it over and over and over again, it does get to be a little exhausting, I admit. And I agree. All right, final question. And then we are all caught up. Comes to us from Val Erikson, who writes, I'd like to see the X-Men interact with the Avengers one day, but I'm concerned that they'd get treated as sidekicks like Peter Parker has been. Well, I mean, first of all, let me just address the Peter Parker thing. Peter Parker is an inexperienced teenager. Of course, but you can't just say he's been treated like a sidekick. He's about to get a second standalone movie. Black Widow has no standalone movies. Hawkeye has no standalone movies. How long's it been since the Hulk had a standalone movie? Black Panther's had one standalone movie. Spider-Man is about to get his second standalone movie, and he's only been in the MCU a couple of years. But in the reality of that universe, he's a kid. He's a kid. So you have to approach him a certain way until he gets a little bit older, more experienced, done more, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't think they've treated Peter badly. I think they've treated him with a lot of honor. He's about to have a second standalone film come out. He was a centerpiece, one of the main centerpieces in Infinity War. His storyline became a big motivational factor, stretching into Endgame. I thought they treated him very well. Anyway, I trust Kevin Feige. Now, look, I've said for a long time, I want the X-Men to stay in their own universe. I think the MCU is becoming overcrowded. I think having the X-Men in a separate universe altogether, and I'm not talking about multiple realities. No, I'm just talking about a completely separate movie universe. That's a completely separate and devoid of anything Marvel and MCU. I just think they'll make better movies that way. But I know that's not what they're doing. So even though they're not doing what I would like them to do, I still have 100% trust in Kevin Feige. He'll treat the X-Men well. He'll treat the X-Men with respect. It'll be done well, whatever they do, because that's all Kevin Feige does. And so that I'm not worried about it at all. Valhalla, I'm not worried about it at all. I don't think any of us should be. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt until we see what happens. And again, we're years away from finding out. So let's hang in there. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion video. We are now all caught up on all the questions that got sent in. And a special thank you to all you guys who did send in those questions, not just because you gave us great fun stuff to talk about, but because you also supported the channel while you're doing it. And I thank you, and myself, fact checker Jonathan, Ray, Robert Meyer Burnett, we all thank you for that and for supporting this channel and supporting the shows that we do. So thank you so much for that, guys. Don't forget the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. Make sure you join me and Robert for that. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. Until our next video, bye-bye.